Hi everyone and welcome to episode 96 of the Talk is Cheap show. Hope you're all well, healthy and COVID free. Thanks to everyone for tapping in today. We truly appreciate your support. As you can see, once again, we're live in the AFTV studios and we've got a great show lined up for you today, as always. But before we get into the show, let's start with our now cursory introductions. Joining me to my left here, my resident co-expert, show analyst and good friend, none other than Mr. Curtis Shaw from Curtis Shaw TV and House. What are you saying, bro?
I still missed the long intro, I can't lie, but nah. Listen, I'm good, man. Happy to be here. Another show. Listen, do you know what? I'm glad international break's finished.
I was going to say, man, did you not?
Like, do you know what? There's been some decent games, the Nations League and stuff like that, but you don't realise how much you miss Arsenal till it's not there, do you?
Yeah. Although I did enjoy the Nations League final. Man.
Yeah, that was
great
very
game.
good. Second half especially.
Yeah,
I'm glad France
man,
won as well.
Team, yeah, that was football at its,
highest level.
Highest levels, yeah. And the semi-finals were good as well, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Any players stand out for you? No?
Usual suspects, man. I love Benzema. I think he's criminally underrated. I think he's one of the best strikers in the world.
Absolutely.
Mbappe done his thing.
Yeah, man. Did you see that goal in the final?
Dropped the step shoulder over on, man. Sent him.
Yeah, man. That was a proper thing, a proper game. But you know what? On that international break, shout out to Saka. He got a goal in England's 5-0 drubbing of Andorra. To be expected.
Good goal.
Good goal, man. Like it. England didn't do so well against Hungary. Didn't lose, but it was a bit of a.
I think the big news is Thomas Partey scoring goals.
I
don't know what happens.
Was it a long range shot?
I think this. Yeah, he scored a free kick.
Wow.
You know, although it went straight through the keeper's hands, but at Arsenal he's licking down pigeons off the roof. He goes to.
No, but you know what? I think his shooting's got better.
Wow.
Because as you said a couple of weeks on the show, it was Rose last season, isn't it?
That Brighton
He's
one,
working his way down.
Yeah, it's down now. Listen, when he scores, man, we'll be doing that Robbie dance when he scores.
Yeah,
man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, for real. But on that as well, there's a few other Arsenal players that did well on international break. Emil Smith-Rowe, he scored England's only goal in the under-21s.
Yeah.
Nicolas Pepe, he scored for Ivory Coast in their win.
Good goal as well.
Abba, blood clot, yeah. He scored, didn't he?
Yeah.
Who else? I think there was somebody else as well, man. Let's see.
There was a few goal scorers, but yeah, it makes you wonder how we're not scoring that many goals at Arsenal. They all go abroad, everyone's notching, but hopefully they can bring that back.
Well, it's good. Jokes aside, it's good that Aubameyang scored really, because we need him to maintain his goal scoring form. And listen, Partey and Pepe and people like that, and Saka, Smith-Rowe, we need goals from midfield. Definitely. So if those guys are hitting the back of the net, even though it's for the international sides, it's still a good thing in my view. So man, but that's all good. Okay, so news and notes then. Let's roll on to news and notes. As you all know, news and notes is that section of the show where we look at any stories of relevance to football and to Arsenal, anything like kicking around in the news that we think is of interest. So we spoke about the international break. Right. Some sad news to report. Hector Bellerin.
Here he goes. I knew it.
I've got to keep a straight face for this now. I said that once his loan deal is up, he wants to stay in Spain. So I knew that would have saddened a lot of the Arsenal fan base. I was,
devastated about he was about that.
And I'm sure you was too.
Yeah. Hecky B.
Yeah.
Well, listen, man.
Doesn't want to come back to Arsenal.
Nah,
Is that sad?
No, I think his time's up in it. Let's be honest. I always say with Hector, man, like as much as we say certain things about him, he come through the youth system. He was at the club for a long time. He looked like he was going to be a star at one stage when Barcelona were trying to tap him. Well, Barca were trying to tap him up pre-injury, but listen, I just think his time's come to an end, and I think
he probably thinks that Arsenal's time's come to an end. That's probably how he's viewing it.
Probably in his mind,
because of course he went there to win things.
Oh yeah, and it's been 10 years since that club's won a trophy. But, no, listen, I think he needs a fresh start. We've got a right back now that looks like he's an improvement, so I think everyone wins if he does leave. Really, respectfully. Yeah,
I would agree with that. All jokes aside, I think that's relationships probably come to a close now. And I think it's mutually beneficial for each side to move on. Right, okay, jokes aside. Right, so earlier in the week there were rumours, and I know you touched on it on your show, and I did something on the Daily News show. Shout out to Turkish, by the way.
Yeah, man.
The rumours that were circulating, and they seem to be, I don't know how it started, man, but it seemed to gain momentum. And at one time, every time I looked up my phone, there was somebody else commenting on it. So, yeah, rumours of Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, formerly of Arsenal, now of Liverpool, that apparently would consider coming back to Arsenal if the terms were right.
I'm sure he would.
Now, it'd be interesting. No, you go first. But I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on it.
Listen, first of all, when Ox was at Arsenal, I was a big fan of him. I thought he had a massive future, and I was actually really disappointed when he left. Because I felt he was coming into his own. I know he said he was keen on playing central. I think Wenger used to play him on the right-hand side a lot. For me, I don't want this deal to happen.
No,
I don't. I look at it and I think, well, you left Arsenal when you was probably, at the height of your career so far. You've gone to Liverpool. Okay, you won trophies, but we all know he suffered, I think, double ACL injury in his knee. I think they said he's only played 30-something games in 4 seasons. Like,
wow.
He's massively injury prone. Hasn't been picked for England since 2019. You want to come back now because Klopp doesn't want you anymore. It's like
but is it he wants to come back? I mean, I was reading it as that Arsenal were some of the stories I was reading were suggesting that people in the Arsenal hierarchy, I don't know if it's the manager or what, but some people suggesting it was Arsenal who was interested.
I mean, the thing is, he was teammates with Arteta. They played in the same team for a little while. We know there's going to be a midfield issue in January. Xhaka's injured. El Neni and Partey go to the African Cup of Nations.
I mean, how do you replace El Neni?
Well, I don't. You could. You could probably replace him. No, but all jokes
put some respect on that man's name.
A little bit.
Come on.
You know what I mean?
But El Messi.
But no, I think there's talk that they could get him on loan maybe till the summer and then buy him in the summer. I just think it sends out the wrong message. I think Arsenal, we're going in a new direction now, signing younger players, fresh faces. Ox is in decline now. He's 28, he's nearly 29, he's on 120 grand a week, injury prone and out of form. For me, listen, I liked Ox at Arsenal, but I would stay away from it.
Yeah, it's interesting. Because you know what? I had those same viewpoints initially. But then it's like a lot of things. If you can think things over, and all of a sudden you're starting to second guess yourself. And I was thinking, well, if it was a loan deal and he came in, say, in January, and it was a loan deal and a pay-as-you-play type of deal, and he came for a while, was able to play a few games. I mean, like you said, those guys, Partey, El Nene, one or two others, Pepe, were all going to be on international duty for their countries. Injury problems we've got. Oxlade-Chamberlain comes into the team. Now listen, you're right about the injuries, but if he was fit, he's a very talented player, man. I mean, I know he's dropped down the pecking order at Liverpool because of the injuries. Very talented player, can get goals from midfield. Yeah. Been at Arsenal, knows the setup, you know what I mean? I'm sure he would probably do a decent job. So would it be such a bad move if he was fit enough to play?
If they could get him on loan with no obligation to buy him, it's not the end of the world. I don't think we should be committing to a transfer at the end of it. But then I just wonder, would Klopp allow that kind of deal to happen? I can't see Liverpool.
Not even for a loan deal?
I just don't see how it suits them. Wijnaldum left in the summer. I think they would probably need him as a squad player.
Well, that in itself indicates that he still has some worth then, doesn't it?
Yeah, but to me, if Fox was leaving Liverpool, I'd expect to see him at Southampton, Newcastle, West Ham. I know you could say we're in that kind of category now anyway, but I just don't think... Bro. I know.
Liverpool are top.
I know, I hear you. Listen, if he comes in, what I will say, if he did come back, I think he's an upgrade on some of the players we've got in that midfield. So in that sense,
I don't want to throw shade on any of the current players, man, but listen,
He's better than some of them.
A fit Oxlade-Chamberlain is on a par with pretty much most of those guys.
Yeah. But it's if he's fit.
It's if he's fit. And that was the caveat that I drew up. I said, listen, man, initially, when I thought about it, I thought, no chance. But then when I thought a bit more deeply, I thought, if we could get him on some kind of loan deal, that's mutually beneficial for both parties, I think it's a no-brainer, personally.
Fair
with
enough.
all those guys going to be away, I know you're a big Granit Xhaka fan, but, but I'd have to say that Oxlade-Chamberlain is at least the same level of talent, if not more, than Granit is. You know me, I'm an admirer of Granit Xhaka.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out why, but
no, we won't go there.
We won't go into that. But
you know what I'm saying.
Let us know in the comments. Oxlade-Chamberlain.
Yeah.
Would you take him?
And don't do what I did initially, which is to dismiss it and say, no, we don't. They don't come back. He's too injury prone. Think about what would make up a deal like this. Like I said, I'm sure there would be some deal in there that would be like a pay-as-you-play. I'm sure it would be a loan deal with a, both sides can terminate at the end of the loan deal and you go back to Liverpool. So think about it on those terms and let us know if you think it's that bad an idea after all. Because I must admit, after I gave it some thought, I was thinking, you know what, you could do worse.
Let's see.
You know what I mean? So yeah, that's interesting, man. But okay, moving on then to another one of our regular features, and it's called our Ops of the Week. Now, this coming Monday, big game, man.
Yeah.
Big game. Arsenal in a big game in an international break. Premier League is back. This coming Monday night, London derby. North London versus South London. Arsenal versus Palace. A game that's always competitive, man. But and so this is likely to be no different. But the special thing about this game is that
Vieira.
exactly, man. The Vieira derby.
Yeah.
The Vieira derby. Arsenal versus Crystal Palace. So those of you, unless you've been living under a rock, you would have known that Patrick Vieira in the summer took over from Roy Hodgson as the manager of Crystal Palace. And I think it's fair to say he's done a pretty okay job so far.
He started well. I think he's changed the direction of Palace a little bit. Felt they were a bit stale under Roy, even though Roy keeps them up every season. I think Vieira's added a little bit extra to them, so it's going to be a tough game on Monday. I think we drew 0-0 with them last year at home.
Yeah, we did. And
Zaha's always fired up for this game, and he wanted the move to us.
Yeah.
So.
And the interesting thing about that, it'll be like Patrick Vieira's first competitive return to Arsenal.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure he's been back since he stopped playing in 2005 for us. But yeah, so how long is that? Like 16 years. So it's going to be amazing to have him back, isn't it?
And also, the thing is, in Vieira's mind, it's an audition.
Yeah.
Deep down, he'll be thinking, long term, I would want that Arsenal job.
Exactly.
So if he comes here and turns us over, Patrick's team look well organised. Yeah,
man. For real.
He'll be up for it. So,
I mean, it's fair to say that since he's taken over at Palace, let's talk about Palace for a little bit. We've got a little bit of time. Since he's taken over at Palace, it's fair to say he's kind of repatterned the side. Because previous under Roy Hodgson, and Roy did let's face it, Roy did a decent job with Palace. But they were seen as pragmatic, hard-working, quite dour, non-expansive team. But Vieira, he's come in and he's ripped up the playbook a little bit. He's got rid of some of the older players. He's brought in some new guys, and they've got that kind of look about them, man, where they're a young, fresh, exciting team. They've got a couple of players there, man, that have impressed me. Tariq Mitchell, the guy that we spoke about a couple of weeks ago on the show, Elise, looks good. Gallagher looks good. You know what I mean? And they play with a certain type of spirit that I like.
Yeah.
Sort of typifying a young side. They're very energetic, enthusiastic, flying to the tackles. Now that makes for a real good game. I mean, the games against Palace are pretty competitive anyway. Like you said earlier, we drew with them at home last year 0-0. We did manage to beat them 3-1, but none of them are easy games.
No.
They're never easy. And like you said, they've got a certain Wilfred Zaha that seems to love playing against Arsenal.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I'm expecting it to be a very competitive game.
Yeah. Monday night football.
Absolutely. The eyes of the world are going to be on that game. So let's take a little look at Palace in terms of their league position and what they've done so far under Vieira. They're currently 14th in the table, which is, I would say, is respectable. Would you say that?
Yeah.
Played 7 games, won 1. That was against Tottenham. That was a good win. I think it was 3-1 or something like that, wasn't They've drawn 4 against Brentford, West Ham, Brighton and Leicester. Again,
tricky game.
all of those teams I just listed there, Brentford, West Ham, Brighton and Leicester, are all having, well, maybe not so much Leicester, but definitely Brentford, West Ham and Brighton are having good starts. So, you know what I mean? And then they've lost 2. And listen, they've lost 2, but those games were to Chelsea and Liverpool.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? It's
no shame in that.
There's no shame in that at all. And like I said, people have commented that the football under Vieira is a lot more, it's a lot better to watch.
I suppose the only positive that Arsenal can take out of that is they've only won once. Do you know what I mean? So even though they have looked decent, they've won 1 game. They beat Tottenham, which obviously we all love that.
Yeah.
But Tottenham
we've got something in common with us.
Yeah, we both slapped them up.
Slapped up Tottenham.
Yeah.
Tottenham get battered, everywhere they go. Tottenham get battered, everywhere they go.
Do you know what? I think we stopped singing that after Brighton, didn't we? No, do you know what?
But it's still applicable, though, isn't it?
The song lives on all season.
Shout out to Toby, and I'm going to send this to him after. So he can,
Do you know what? We sing that all season, man. It never runs out. To be fair,
never gets stale.
But no, I think. Do you know what? I think the battle I'm looking forward to is that Tomiyasu and Zaha battle.
Oh
because
man, that's fire.
I think even though Tomiyasu, he kept Son pretty quiet. But I almost think Zaha is more direct than Son in that he kind of runs at the fullback more.
It's a bit more tricky, isn't it?
Son drifts centrally a lot of the time, tries to score. So it'd be interesting that, and you know, we need to score some goals.
For real,
we need to start scoring.
For real. So let's compare that then. We spoke about Palace,
to
Arsenal. I mean, our 7 games have, you know what I mean, flattered to deceive a little bit. What do you think of our form so far then?
I mean, obviously we've won the 3 games. Manager of the month. So listen, confidence.
Deserve it.
Yeah, it is deserved. Confidence should be high going into this game. I think the last month that we had just kind of brought us back to where we are now. But now we'll find out how good we really are. Looking at the next few games, not looking too far ahead, but we've got 3 home games against Palace, Villa and Watford. I think that's got to be 9 points. I really do. I know they're not easy games, but at home, Villa, considering the start we had,
as well.
They have, but still, I think we've got to win all 3 of them.
Watford have got a new manager.
Still, dilly ding, dilly dong, mate. You got to be turning that Watford team over. So, well, no, listen.
No, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it's potential new manager bounce for them.
Well, he's got 3 games until they play. So by then, that might have.
Yeah, they might have faded out.
Or
alternatively, it could be one of them where they don't start particularly well, but then they start growing.
I just think with Arsenal, Palace at home, as much as Vieira does look better, like you said, they've only won once. I still think we've got to win. I think it's a must-win game. I really do. I think it's a must-win game. We're 11th.
It is.
We're going to watch everyone else play over the weekend, which is sometimes a bit frustrating. International break. I'd have liked to see Arsenal on Saturday or Sunday. So other teams.
Well, you know what they say, bro. There's no easy games in the Premier League.
There's no easy games. No.
Unless, of course, you're playing Tottenham.
They're going to come for you. But I don't mind.
No, but the Palace fans would agree with me.
We can all sing that song together. You know.
I'm sure they will.
It don't matter how bad we are, you know, Tottenham.
If you want an easy game and you know what I mean, you've lost a few, just line up a game with Tottenham.
They're going to clip you up for this.
No, but with respect to them, they are above us in the table in spite of all that. So they must be doing something right somewhere. But okay, so like I said, let's look at Arsenal's games. So played 7, won 3, Norwich, Burnley, Tottenham. We lost the first 3. Brentford, Chelsea and Man City. And of course, that last game was, some would say, a fairly disappointing draw. However, I would tend to look at it glass half full, which is you've gone away to a team that, let's face it, are in good form. We didn't play particularly well. I think that's to say the least. And we managed to get out of there with a draw. Now, I've always heard that adage thrown around, you can always tell a good team when they're not playing well, they don't lose. We don't play well, we don't lose, and no one's saying that about us.
But that didn't happen in the first 3 games. We didn't play well and we held smoke.
Yeah, that's true.
And you know what? A certain Thierry Henry, he didn't see that as a point gained at Brighton either, to be honest.
He wasn't impressed with that.
He was not happy with it. So I'm with Thierry, man. I felt I was really disappointed with the Brighton performance.
Talking about that with Thierry, I know we're kind of sidetracking a bit. We digress, but I think it's a pertinent thing to talk about.
Yeah.
Do you get the impression that Thierry's not exactly impressed with the current regime, and that he could even be thinking that in time, if Daniel ever takes over, he might be seeing himself.
I mean, the thing is, it caused a lot of debate, what Henry said. First of all, for me, and I think you agree, I think he's the best player we've ever had.
Yeah.
So
although some people might say Vieira.
No, yeah, that's a fair argument, or Bergkamp or whatever. But I think he's earned the right to give his opinion about. But if you read what he says, I don't think he mentions Arteta once in the whole article.
He didn't need to, though, did he?
Well, this guy.
No, but you know what I'm saying, man.
But you got to imagine, this guy's been at Arsenal when we were actually great. And now he's seeing Arsenal 11th and thinking, well, I'm not about to start singing and dancing because we won a few games. You know, he wants better for the club. And I think he made the point that Brighton kept the ball and we weren't able to cope with them. And that's what disappointed him. He said, you know, he wanted to see us get the ball and start dominating. So, listen, I think some people are saying, look, he's with Daniel Ek, so he's throwing shade on Kroenke, throwing shade on Arteta because he might want the job. But it's one of them things now where when you've got an opinion and people don't agree with it, oh, you're negative or you're trying to do this. I think what he said was fair. I don't think any Arsenal fan, whether you love Arteta, hate Arteta, whatever, I don't think any Arsenal fan should be happy with the current situation. Back-to-back 8th place, out of Europe, 11th in the table. Now, you know, we have seen signs of improvement. The defence looks better. I still think we can finish in Europe this season. But I think Thierry had a right to say what he said. I don't think top 4's there this season. Listen, the one thing I will say, looking at the top 4 teams who everyone kind of thinks, I do think Man United might have trouble because of their manager. Yeah, because of their manager, man. You've seen United drop points, but
I thought they were being joint managed.
Well, Ronaldo and Solskjaer. Listen, Man United.
That was part of the deal. Yeah. See, people don't know that. I mean, we weren't just coming in as a player.
Yeah, he's assistant manager.
In as assistant manager as well.
And when Ollie gets sacked, you know, he'll probably take over. Give it Ronnie till the end of the season.
Yeah, I could see that. Though. Could you?
Yeah, I could see. I could.
Player manager. What else? Oh.
Yeah, I reckon top 6 is the aim for Arsenal. Listen, we've got to try and get top 4.
Yeah. But do you think though that the likes of Edu and people like that would have sat Arteta down at the start of the season and said, "Listen, man, this is your target."
Well, in his interview, 6. What did he say? No targets. Right, Although, listen, I think behind closed doors the conversation would have been different. I think the target would have been Europe. Yeah, not Conference League either. I'm talking a Europa League at least. Yeah. I think if Arsenal get top 6 and can win one of the domestic trophies, I think that's a successful season. And I think that's possible. I think we could get top 6 and win the EFL Cup. Well, even though Man City usually win that every single year, but if we can get, you know, we got Leeds, I think we can win a trophy and get top 6. I would be happy with that.
Yeah, I would as well, man. Yeah. Okay, then to draw it back to, we've digressed enough, to draw it back to this game then. Big game on Monday. As I was saying earlier, the eyes of the world will be on this game. It's a London derby, North London versus South London, the Vieira derby. It's going to be a big game. Lots of people are going to have interest in this game for a whole host of reasons. And we know that Palace do normally rise to the occasion. I'm giving you the manager's hot seat for the weekend, bro. What sort of team you think he'll play, given who he's got available? Who would you like to see, 1 to 11? What, who I would pick, or I think? We can talk about if the Arteta will make any changes to your 11. But let's I think the keeper and back 4 picks itself. So you got Ramsdale and I said Leonard. He's like the forgotten man in here now. I'm starting to feel a bit sorry for him. I'm not. A little bit. He talked himself out of it. He did. But you know what it is, right? Initially, he was a fan's favourite. That's why it's so disappointing for me. Because we all like Leno, innit? He's one of those guys, he had a bit of character about him. A bit larger than life. Good keeper. And then he goes and commits this almighty faux pas, man. Maybe he was sell him in the summer. Yeah, he was a bit complacent. But, So we go Ramsdale in goal. Obviously, Tomiyasu, Tierney, White and Gabriel. I think that's a solid back 4 at the moment. Right. Midfield, you go Thomas Partey, of course. I'd play Lokonga next to him. Lokonga? Even though it didn't look an amazing partnership against Brighton, but we don't really have many other options. Well, you got Angel. You got El Messi. El Messi, El Neni. Now, I would give Sambi another go.
The front four is where it's kind of a bit interesting for me, because that Smith Rowe, Odegaard, Saka 3, I felt in the last game didn't work. I'm not saying because they've had one bad game you change it, but I don't know. I kind of would. I think I would like to see us bring another winger into the team and maybe take one of those two out.
It's interesting.
Yeah, because I just think against Palace they got a lot of speed on the counter attack, which
yeah.
also you can then catch them on the break, which I think you need pace. Game opens up. I'd play Saka. Do you know what?
I think Saka's got to play. To be honest, he's got to play.
I'm tempted to say, give Martinelli a chance.
Wow.
Honestly, I know that's a bit out of nowhere, but I just think the guy needs a chance. Either him or Nicolas Pepe, bring him back. I would go Smith Rowe in the 10.
Right.
And I would
Odegaard.
I would give Odegaard a rest.
Wow.
Not that he needs a rest, but just I didn't think he was very good against Brighton.
No, he wasn't. No, he was poor.
I think Smith Rowe's a bit more endeavour, gets on the ball a little bit more.
Especially in a game like this where it's going to be high intensity. And
Palace are quite physical as well.
Yeah, like I said, I watched them. I was quite impressed with their physicality, their athleticism, and their enthusiasm, man. All those things.
Yeah,
kind of stood out to me.
So I'll go Smith Rowe, Saka, and then either Pepe or Martinelli. Martinelli maybe is not fully fit. It's the only thing, but maybe Pepe and bring Martinelli on.
Yeah.
And then,
it's interesting. Sorry to interrupt. It's interesting you should mention Martinelli there, because apparently there's been noises coming out that he's not happy, or he's less than impressed with the fact that he's not been given hardly any game time this season in the Premier League. And I think he's getting to that stage now where he's starting to say, "Look, come on, bro."
What's going on?
And Arteta has been asked several questions, and he's basically said he's got to keep his patience and keep working hard and do enough to get in the team, which is what you expect the manager to say with something like that. But what you said there also is very interesting, that, is this the game where he might get some minutes?
I think he should. I can understand why Martinelli feels a little hard done by.
Of course. Yeah.
We always have this thing in the Arsenal fan base, when a player's not in the team, they become the saviour, without playing. But I just think, it's funny, 18 months ago, I would have probably said Martinelli is possibly the best youngster at the club. And a year and a half later, he's been overtaken by Saka, by Smith Rowe.
Yeah.
I just think there's huge potential there. I think it'd be a shame to waste it. I look at Martinelli and I think if he was at a different club, or maybe at this club but under a different manager, I think you'd be seeing a real top young player. I mean, it wasn't too long ago, Klopp said he was one of the best youngsters he'd seen since the early 2000s, he was saying. He was giving him huge compliments. So I would like to see him get more game time, and I think this is the type of game he should get a chance. Whether he starts or comes off the bench is a different thing. And then up front, you've got a problem as well, because, Aubameyang was poor again, but the game before he was excellent. So... do you give Lacazette a chance? I think he'll stick with Aubameyang. I've said before that the fact Lacazette's probably going to leave in the summer. He's not going to turn his back on his skipper, his star player, highest paid. So I think Aubameyang will be through the middle. It's a chance for him to score. I think he's good at home, Aubameyang, with the fans. So probably Aubameyang through the middle.
Right. So that's your 11.
That's my 11.
Right. And so what do you think?
I
didn't ask you your formation.
Yeah, I just played.
You kind of hinted at
4-2-3-1, and 4 at the back, 2 centre mids, 3 attackers, and then your striker.
Yeah, your lone striker. It's amazing. Like, you sometimes think to yourself, couldn't the manager find a way to play Abba and Laka together, especially in the home games where we're expected to have more of the ball? If you got that additional striker up front, surely it's going to help, isn't it?
It's crazy because when we was younger, everybody played 2 up front.
Yeah, 4-4-2.
You know what I'm saying? But then it all became 4-3-3. And if you remember when Emery was manager, he often played them both.
Yeah.
Kind of pushed Aubameyang slightly wider, but I think they could have a partnership. But the only thing is, you play 2 up front, your midfield has got to be rock solid to deal with not having that extra midfielder. At the moment, our midfield's not amazing.
No, it's not,
and that's
especially in terms of scoring goals.
But
you know what? I always say this, man. Why not have a bit of flexibility?
Yeah.
So you could start like a 4-4-2 type thing, and then if it's not quite working out, surely you can make the change and revert. Because it's not like those guys haven't played that system before. But if you're struggling for goals and you've got guys at your disposal like an Aubameyang and Lacazette, would it not make sense to play them together? I mean, Leicester have done it previously. They played like
Iheanacho and Vardy together. Yeah.
Liverpool do it. They accommodate Mane, and I know Mane kind of drops deeper, but you know, you have Mane, Firmino, and Salah. They make it work.
I think with Arteta now, one thing he's got to do is sometimes to win, you've got to risk losing almost.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think with Arsenal, 5 goals in 7 games, I think we've got to take more risks because I think we've got.
I would finesse that slightly with respect.
Go on.
I wouldn't call it risking losing. I'm calling it being flexible.
Yeah.
And coming up with some diverse strategies to throw off the opposition. Because like I said, not many teams play 4-4-2 anymore. So you imagine if we go out on Monday night and play 4-4-2, all of a sudden Palace are thinking, oh, hang on.
What's going on?
We've got something else.
He seems a bit cautious to do that.
We are a bit predictable right now.
Yeah, I agree.
Everybody says it. So why not try something a bit different? What is that old saying, you know what I mean? The definition of madness is if you try and do the same thing and expect different results. So we haven't been able to get the team scoring prolifically, so let's try something different.
Well, I can't see him doing it. I reckon he'll play Smith Rowe left again, Odegaard 10, Saka right, Aubameyang through the middle. I don't think he'll change it. I would change it, but I don't think he will. That seems to be. I don't see Martinelli coming out of nowhere and just getting a start. And Pepe seems to have been pushed aside a little bit at the moment. It's more of an impact substitute. So. But listen, we need the 3 points. That's all that matters.
But then so do they.
So do they, yeah. Like you said,
because if they lose, you know what I mean, there are 14th, they could find themselves start slipping down the table. Yeah. And that comes with pressure on the manager. So it's a big game for them, man.
Very big game.
It's a big game, man, and they're going to be up for it, man. Yeah, I mean, listen, the team you've selected there, I would agree with pretty much most of that. I do think that he may look at bringing in Ainsley for Sambi.
You think so?
He may do. He's been talking quite effusively about Ainsley recently. But I personally would start with Sambi.
You'd start with Sambi as well, yeah.
But like I said, I like to see something a bit different. And what I am hoping for this time with the manager is that things are not going our way. Even if they are going our way, make proper use of the substitutes. I think that's one of the big drawbacks of the manager's career so far. So he's not proactive with his substitutions. And I don't know what you think, but I always think one of the signs of a really good manager is that they will make substitutions that impact the game early on. Don't wait until it's too late and then do the obvious and do like for like stuff. You know what I mean? Try and make those substitutions count. You've got a big pool of players to choose from. They're all very talented. That is should be an advantage for the manager. We've got a better squad than Palace. Let's make use of it.
Exactly,
You know what I mean? So, and that's one area that I personally think there is a failing in his part. And I've not seen him really rectify that. I mean, we've been talking about this for a couple of years now with Arteta, aren't we?
The substitutes,
So, and let's face it, do you not think that's a big part of football now?
Definitely, because, how many times have you seen a substitute come on and impact the game, win the game even? So, he's definitely got, and like you said, the like for like, even at Brighton, Aubameyang wasn't playing well, but it's just Aubameyang off, Lacazette on. Why? Sometimes put him up for
try something different.
Yeah, so.
Or even take Aubameyang off and, drop Martinelli in there.
Yeah, just surprise them a little bit.
Just throw them off a little bit, you know what I mean? Have Vieira thinking, hang on, I was expecting him to go. We made a plan B for Lacazette. Comes on all of a sudden he's brought Martinelli on. I'm thinking he's got slightly different qualities than the other two guys. Now we're going to have to change again, you know what I mean? And I'm sure the defenders who faced with that problem, they'll be thinking, oh shit, I wasn't expecting this. You know what I mean? So sometimes that's what you got to do in football, man. And that, like I said, to me, I'd be interested to hear what the viewers think. That is one of the biggest failings of Arteta. So one, I find he's a bit rigid, and number two, his substitutions or his management of his substitutions are not very proactive. They're reactive, and they're always the same ones. Very predictable.
Yeah.
So hey, I hope I'm not coming across as too negative. No, but that's how I feel, bro. I mean, I've been saying it for a while, and I'm just talking my truth, bro. Okay, then. So we've discussed team lineup, formation, prediction, and why. I'm not just going to let it get away. So you're Arsenal 2-0.
Yeah.
You tell me if they're going to win or lose or whatever, or draw. You tell me why you think that is.
Do you know what? A few days ago, in my head, I just had this as, we'll beat them. Like, quite straightforward. The closer we're getting to the game, I'm like, do you know what? This is actually going to be a hard game. Not that it wasn't, but I'm just thinking, you know, they got Edouard, who they've just signed from Celtic. We were linked with him. They got Edouard, yeah. They got Elise, they got Zaha. Apparently, Eze's back in training. He was meant to be out till like Christmas. The Arsenal are playing. All of a sudden, he's back.
What? He might be back for this game.
Well, they're saying he's in training. Whether he'll be in the squad or not, I don't know. But he's a baller as well.
Very good player,
I just think they'll be really fired up for it. Vieira will really want to win this game.
And I think the players are playing for him, man. I've seen a couple of Palace games, and I've studied it. When he's there talking to the players, you can see them looking. They're almost in awe a little bit.
He's a legend, isn't he?
Yeah. And I mean, and he seems to have gotten playing this sort of brand of football, which is good to watch.
Yeah.
And they look energised, man. And this is no disrespect to Roy Hodgson, who I thought Roy had his critics.
He did all right.
He didn't have a particularly great style of football. But at that time, he stabilised Palace.
Yeah, he did.
Kept them up. I think Vieira's been brought on board to not just keep them up, but it's an evolution with it.
Further,
yeah, so I kind of like the project.
I'm going to go for a 2-1 win.
Right.
I think it'll be a close game. I think it'll be a hard-fought win. The only reason I've said 2-1 because I do think you can score goals against Palace, but at the moment we're not overly free-flowing, so I'm restricting us to 2 goals. So I'm going for a 2-1 win, but I think it'll be a tough game, hard-fought victory.
I'm with you on that, bro. And you know what? I'm going to disagree with you slightly. Some people may be surprised to hear me say this, man, but I'm going to go with a Desmond.
Oh, yeah.
2-2.
Wow.
I love that song.
You love that.
I love that.
Desmond.
Yeah. I'm going for a Desmond, man.
2-2.
And I'll tell you why. Not because I think we're not a better team than Palace and that we should win. I just think given the occasion, it's Vieira's, like we said, first competitive return to Arsenal in over 15 years.
Yeah.
He's going to be fired up. I'm sure he's going to have the players fired up. They normally do pretty well against us anyway at home. They've beaten us at home in previous years. You remember that game that Sunday? That pretty much cost Emery his job in the long term.
We would have got Champions League if he'd have won that. Yeah.
And Emery underestimated the task at hand and he got found wanting, man. Got caught slipping, as they say. Got caught lacking.
Yeah.
And I just think Palace, man, the way they're playing right now, I mean, there's a few of those games, those draws that they had, that when I watched those games, they should really have beaten them. They should really have beaten Leicester.
Yeah, should have beat Brighton.
They should have beaten Brighton. Yeah, I mean, they came very close within about 50 seconds, wasn't
it?
Yeah. And like I said, man, our confidence is still not quite where it should be. We have games when we play really well, we make really good starts, and then invariably we don't see it out and we're kind of hanging on at the end. I think Palace have got the kind of players that can make us play. They're not prolific themselves. They probably need a striker. Well, they do need a striker. But I just think that this could be a very difficult game. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm going for the Desmond.
Do you know what? I've seen a few people predict a draw.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I'm scraping a victory for us.
Obviously, we want them to win.
Yeah, of course
I'm just speaking my truth.
Yeah.
I see this being a very difficult game.
Yeah.
And they're not going to lie down like Tottenham did.
No. Just one more in the ribs.
Just one more dig.
Yeah. Speaking of digs in the ribs, anyway, Tyson Fury, I told you he'd win.
I was hoping you wouldn't say that. I've been getting a bit of stick about it.
We had to quickly talk about it.
Yeah, I've got to go on my son's show later on. He's got a boxing called The Boxing Lowdown. Make sure you check that out. I appear on there every week, and I was going big on a Wilder win. Listen, man, congratulations to Tyson Fury. That was the trilogy fight. And
what
he proved
fight,
himself.
by the way.
Oh, it was an amazing fight. One of the best I've seen. Wilder, he's got that massive punch, and he showed amazing how he kept on his feet, especially after the fifth round, sorry. God only knows, man. It was a tremendous fight. But I think we have to be honest and say that the best man won. He was a Gypsy King. he proved himself to be the superior man. And at the moment, I would probably have him as a number one heavyweight.
No, definitely.
Although I'm sure Usyk will have something to say about that. Don't write Usyk out, by the way. He's a very, very good fighter.
I think it'd be interesting if AJ can beat him and then fight Fury, but I think it'll be difficult for AJ. But
it's often difficult to predict. I know we're digressing again. I don't want to keep it short, but it's kind of with heavyweight boxing. They're different to other weights in boxing, and that's because the guys are so big and they punch so hard.
Yeah,
that you know what I mean. Just because Wilder lost to the Gypsy King doesn't mean to say he couldn't knock out the other guys when they're given up. And indeed, he nearly knocked out Tyson Fury that night. So yeah, man, it's all to play for.
It is.
But thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah. Nick, I remember you last week with that Wilder smoke.
I was, man. I was. You know what? I just thought the portents were there for the upset.
Yeah.
I just looked at the trajectory going into this fight of the two guys, and I didn't think Tyson was as focused as it had been for the other two fights, whereas the noises coming out of America was that Wilder was super focused. He had a new trainer. He looked really good in training, really good in sparring. And I thought to myself, if he lands that shot, which he did, I thought it could be curtains for Tyson Fury. But, you know, like I said, man, the Gypsy King proved himself to be the better man. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah. So just to reiterate, you're going for a tight...
Tight 2-1, Aubameyang goal.
Oh yeah, Alba's
got to get Alba. He needs a goal.
He does.
Do you know what I mean? But listen, like I said,
but then so do the others, man.
Yeah, everyone does.
You know what I mean? We don't get goals from midfield, bro. You know what I mean? We just don't. Not enough, anyway.
Because I think the thing is, since that Tottenham game, we were all so excited. It was like, well, what's going to happen next? Brighton was a letdown, so now it's like, come on, show us now. So if we put in another sluggish performance, then people will say, well, was that Tottenham game a one-off because of the occasion? So I think this is a very important game for Arteta and the team. They need to put in a performance, because let's face it, Monday night it's going to be cold. Do you know what I mean? Fans will be there in force. They need a performance. Yeah, man. We need to see a performance, a proper performance. So yeah, I think they need.
I think it's very important that we match Palace for their vitality and their enthusiasm, because they play with lots of that.
Yeah.
And like I said, there's a lot of motivation for them also. We're at home, yes, we're going to have that advantage.
Yeah.
They're the underdogs, but they'll be coming with that underdog mentality and the fact that it's a big game, a chance for some of their lesser known players to shine. I just think the portents are there, man, for a really hard fought game. And whilst I would make us favourites, it would not surprise me if that game ends up in a draw. And it could be, you know what, I'm pricking an entertaining draw as well. I don't think it's going to be one of those games where
quiet ones,
nothing much happens and then, you know what I mean, it's a 0-0 or 1-1. I think it's going to be a fairly high scoring, entertaining, enthralling game. I certainly hope so, anyway, but with the exception that we win. But, you know. But listen, man, we're coming to the end of the show, man. Thanks very much for coming on, man. I appreciate it as always. I've enjoyed it. I hope you guys have too. And as always, my special thanks to Curtis for coming in today and giving us this honest and forthright, and let's face it, insightful opinions, which I always appreciate. And I understand that there's a big night for you coming up, bro.
Well, hopefully. All of us, actually.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Tell the people, in case they're wondering.
Football Content Awards tonight. Obviously, Robbie, AFTV, and myself were all there. So hopefully we get some trophies back, man. You know?
Some people watching this, by the time you watch it, the awards might have been done and dusted. But listen, man, congratulations on getting nominated. And obviously we hope you come away with something. I heard you got a exciting acceptance speech lined up.
No, I don't know what the Suge Knight one.
The Suge Knight one. We were talking about that today.
I'm not sure they'd let me back there if I did that one.
Gonna roll up in some red suit.
Yeah.
I mean, so, all up in the videos, dancing.
I'm not sure they're ready for that.
No. But listen, man, good luck with it all.
Yeah, man.
And of course, good luck to all the guys at AFTV that are nominated for awards as well. I think I'm up for one, aren't I?
Oh, yeah.
Presenter of the year. Introduction of the year.
Yeah, that would win easily.
Oh, man.
No, looking forward to it.
Yeah, man, listen. It should be a good night. I'm going along as well, so I'm looking forward to that. There'll be a lot of people in the house, a lot of networking going on, a lot of talk. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. Yeah, it should be a good night. And listen, thanks to every one of you that watched the show today, man. Thanks for tapping in. Truly appreciate your support. Keep the show up. I was going to say hyperactive. I hope it is. Interactive. Send us your comments. Let us know what you think of the show. Let us know what you thought of some of the things we discussed today. Palace, what do you think of them as an opponent? What do you think of them under Vieira so far? How do you think he's done in his managerial career so far in the Premier League? Are you impressed with Palace? Do you think they'll give us a good game? What do you think the score will be, man? Let us know. We're very interested to hear what you got to say. Keep watching the show. Keep watching the channel. Like, share. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Keep looking out for us, and we'll see you next week. We're out.